Hello everyone, Tyler Carter here, and here is third video in the series, Renegades and Heretics, also known as Traitor Guard, army description, helpful hint type videos. This one's going to be on their elite choices. Now I'm pretty positive that all their elite choices are here, and they can't take, I'm pretty sure the only things they can take are like flyers, fast attack, and like heavy support from the other book, from the Imperial Armor books. So I think these are all of them. I'll add a note if I ever find anything else, but it should just be all in this book. So this is going to be their elite options. Now, their elite options are what makes them different from normal guard, right? These are the cool special things they get. So I'm just going to go over all of these in this video. So the first option is the Renegade Command Squad. They're basically like the command squads for the normal guard. They have the better stats of the 3-3 weapon skill, ballistic skill. Good move. Oh, I mean, not very good save, but it's not an awful save considering they're only like 6-point models. You can actually take 5 well, it says disciples, but this is a command squad, so I don't know what it's talking about. But yeah, so you can take 5 guys. They were added that, I'm pretty positive. And you can include up to 5 more or 10 more. So it's 5, 10, 15. So pretty good. And then they all have frag grenades. And they have just, the las gun. Because the auto gun's the same thing, but okay. So now, these are the things that make them special right here. So I went over these in the previous video. About all their war gear and stuff, but there's 2 main reasons. You either take these guys for the command vox net or the banners they can take. Okay, so one dude gets a banner of apostle or banner of hate. So banner of the apostle. Enemy Imperium units subtract 1 from their leadership characteristic while they're within 6 of any models with this. Not very useful, because -1 leadership is pretty garbage, to be honest, just out of nowhere. I mean, you could possibly stack it with things, but it's not even against everything. It's only against Imperium units. So it's not very good. Not really worth the points, in my opinion. Banner of Hate, this one is way better in my opinion, but I wouldn't even say it's an auto-include, but in certain things, oh yes, it is very auto-include. What it says is, whenever a Renegades and Heretic model is slain in the fight phase within 6 of this unit, it may immediately make a single attack against the unit that killed it. So basically, if you're going to run a big mob of like cultists or mutant rabble or something like that, like the big just melee units, especially if you're going to like buff them with the psychers to give them like the plus the reroll wounds and everything. Yeah, reroll wounds, reroll hits during the fight phase psychic power, you're going to want this too. Just because it helps them, because you get even more attacks than when your dudes die, and they're going to die. So it's okay. Is it worth all the points? I don't know, but it's a pretty good thing. Okay, and then the other main reason you probably want to take these guys is the command vox net. Basically what it says is, so all units within 120, basically for all normal games, all your dudes are going to be within 120 of a command vox net. So basically, anybody else with a Voxcaster can use these guys' leadership for morale test if it's higher. Because these guys do have uncertain worth, and that's basically roll a d6, add 2, and then that's the leadership. That's what a lot of the dudes have. I've went over that before. But yeah, so if these guys would get lucky and get a really high one, all the other dudes can do it if they would get a bad one for some reason. And the other thing they get is Fanatic. Roll an additional d6 when determining this unit's uncertain worth, and choose the highest of the 2 rolls. In addition, add 3 to it. So basically what this is saying is you're going to have a high chance of these guys being having higher leadership, I mean, odds are you're probably going to at least get 7. Not always, but I mean, you're probably going to at least get 7. And they're also pretty good in the special weapons department. If you run them in lower. For higher, it's not as good, because you only get 1 thing or 1 heavy weapon squad, but they're not awful. And I mean, normally if you're running these guys, you might as well just take a special weapon. So one of them can switch out their normal gun for a special weapon, and 2 of them can form together to make a heavy weapon squad. So both of those are good. And all units can take crack grenades. So I guess they just get free crack grenades because crack grenades don't have a price. So I mean, that's good. Let you do things. Alright. Oh, and you can't take both the banners. Not that you'd really want to take both, but just a point. Oh yeah, and they got the good keywords of Infantry and Chaos Covenant, so they're the things you need. Alright, next one. Renegades Disciple Squad. So literally the same thing as the Command Squad, but they just don't have like all the special garbage with them. But yeah, that's basically the same thing. It even called them Disciples up there. So basically what it is these are like your veterans for the normal Astra military, and they're more expensive than the normal guys, even though I think they're still only like 5 or 6 points. I think they're 6 points. But 3+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skills, nothing to laugh about. Still have the 5+ save though. So you have to take 5. You can take up to 15. Then they all have the auto guns, las guns, frag grenades, crack grenades. Any of them can switch to pistol melee weapon if they want. So that's pretty good if you want to run like these guys melee for some reason, which I'm sure you can make a strategy for. One dude gets a Chaos Sigil, and basically what that means is, an equipped unit with a Chaos Sigil rolls 2 dice when making morale tests and chooses the lowest score. I did not remember seeing that, and I've read through this book like 5 times, so that's really weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much it costs. It's probably not worth it, but I mean, I don't know. And then you get the Vox Cast, which is roll 2 dice when determining its leadership values and choose the highest score. So that's definitely... So, I mean, depending on what kind of army you're going to want. I mean, Chaos Sigil... I'm just going to go look real quick just so I can give you guys the good information. But basically, if you're going to run, like, an army that's just, like, a bunch of units of, like, 10-man squads of guys and, like, the Disciples and a command squad, then you might as well just do all the Vox Casters, because that just works together well. Or you can do it where it is just a bunch of 10 points. Yeah, I don't really think it's worth it, because that's just another guy. I mean, you don't really want to whiff, but I mean, whatever you think. If you're going to put like a bunch of heavy weapons and stuff, they only get 1 in the heavy weapon squad, but I don't really think it's worth it if you're just running low groups of people, because it's only a reroll too. But yeah, so it's iffy if it's worth it, but the Vox Caster would definitely be worth it, I would say. Just a better option than the Chaos Sigil. But yeah, so if you're just gonna run like units of like 10 of the units of 10 guys, some of the Disciples, the command thing, then yeah, you might as well just take the command Voxnet and the normal ones, because it's better. The other option though is running big squads of the really cheap guys and having a enforcer, because they just make you auto pass all your morale tests like the old Commissar, but they killed the Commissar, so this guy's even better now. Like, these guys got better just because they nerfed the Astra Militarum a lot, but that doesn't even make these guys better. It just makes them better in comparison, which, I mean, still is good, but, not that amazing. I mean, it is pretty amazing, actually, but, yeah. So they can carry Voxcaster, which is 5 points, and I would say that's pretty good. Pretty good deal, because it could save you a guy. But I would say, I don't know, because then it's just 2. No, yeah, I would say take the Voxcaster on him. You might as well. Especially if you take a big squad of them, you definitely want to. If you have a squad of 5, don't take it. But like maybe a squad of 10 and definitely a squad of 15, just for the chance that it could save you one of your guys. But definitely take it if you have big squad, guys with command Voxnet, you're going to want to do that. One dude gets to take a special weapon. I mean, if you're buying these guys with their good weapon skill and stuff, you got to take some sort of special weapon, like an anti-tank or something. I mean, you might as well. Then 2 can form a heavy weapons list. Heavy weapons. No, they get to take a weapon from the heavy weapons list, but they don't form a heavy weapon squad. So that's actually, I mean, it's more expensive, but you actually get a gun, a big gun that's hitting on a good ballistic skill. So it normally is pretty worth it there. Yeah, not this, as they all get crack grenades. And then they get the Fanatic, which is good. So they get a, so with Fanatic and Voxcaster, they get to roll 3 dice. Oh, no. Yeah, to determine its leadership value. Oh, wait. You know what? I think this one means you... No, that it says when you... Okay, this is just where they screwed up the wording in this right here. It's like, oh, we got to make sure all the other stuff's good, but when it comes to these guys, they just screwed up. Well, I don't know. I'm guessing it was better on all the other stuff, but with these guys, they just screwed everything up. Like, look, here it says this unit's uncertain worth, and then here it says its leadership value. I'm just going to take it as they both mean when you're making their leadership. So with both of those, so if you take a Voxer, you get 3 dice to determine its leadership, and you add 3 to it. So, I mean, if you get 3 dice, that's a 50-50 chance you could get 6, and it's, I mean, yeah, 1/3. I mean, yeah, you should at least get a 5 if you roll 3 dice. No guarantees, but that's the hope. So these guys should at least have 8 leadership then, which is pretty high, really, especially for, like, just random dudes. Okay, so the next people are Renegade Enforcer. This guy is basically really good. I'm pretty positive he's, like, 20 points, 25 points, but he brings a lot to the table. He's no schmuck himself, you know. 3+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skill, sucky toughness and strength, but he has 4 wounds. So if just random dudes are shooting at him, he's safe. And also, since he's a character, with they've had to have added that he's a character. Yeah, right down there. So since he's a character, they can't shoot him if he's behind the random dudes. He's baleful judging, you know. So he can live in the crowd of guys, and even if somehow he would get cut out, he's got 4 wounds and a refractor field. For like a 20-point model, he's pretty durable for one of these character guys. So he is a single model. He's got the Brute Assault Weapon, Frag Grenade, and a pistol. You know, Brute Assault Weapon makes him go up to 4 attacks, and 4 attacks is nothing to cry about. Like, this dude is way worth his points. Well, he's at least worth his points, even if you didn't consider the main ability that makes him awesome. But with the main ability, he's just auto take for certain tactics. So basically, if you want, you can make this guy have a las gun or a shotgun. So just one of the sucky guns. He can have that, and I think this is the better option for him, because normally you're going to want him buffing your just random guys who are going to go in and melee. But he also, if you want them to be like a shooting line, you could give him you'd probably want him to have like a las gun or something then. So I mean, it just depends on what guys you're running him with. But yeah, so he gets a random gun, or he gets a pistol, and you can pick any of the melee weapons. So basically, that's going to be Brutal Assault Weapon, or like a Power Maul or something like that, you know, a power weapon. So you get to pick those. So he has the Uncertain Worth, Fanatic, so he gets the extra dice and the 3. Baleful Judge is where it's at, though. So basically what this means is whenever a unit within 3, so not a model, a unit within 3 must take a morale test, they don't take that test. So instead, D3 models in that unit are slain, and the test is automatically passed. So, for certain, you don't want this guy to be around... you don't want this guy to be around your high-cost models. Like, if this guy's around... I think it's mostly just, like, the Ogryns you don't want him to be around. Or the Marauders. Like, any of your sucky, cheap infantry... Well, mostly just your 2 main infantry guys. You'd want him to be around, like, the Cultists or the Mutant Rabble. Because basically what he does is, no morale test, just D3 models are killed. And it's automatically passed. So, it sort of sucks, even if you would automatically pass it anyways and he's around them. D3 are going to die still. So if just one dude died, you D3 more are going to die. But let's say they kill like half your random guys, so like half more would die, so like they kill like 25 dies. Well, no, it just goes to 28 at the max. So it's very useful for that kind of strategy. And then the 5+ invulnerable save's always nice, you know. Then he's got the infantry and Chaos Covenant. Okay, now these dudes, I would say, are borderline overpowered. Because you can just pull crazy stuff with them. Alright, so basically what they are is, they're sort of like your, it's hard to say, but they're sort of like your special weapons squad type guys. And they can do some pretty interesting things. And I'm pretty positive these guys are only 6 points too. So I forgot, yeah, so the fact that these guys are only 6 points sort of rules out Disciples only, because they're basically just straight better than Disciples in most situations with the special rules they have. But, yeah, they are, and Cultists are down to 4 points, just so everybody knows. It's like, oh yeah, they fixed these, they don't fix the points they corrected. Yeah, they're only 6 points. So the Brute's 30. But the Brute sort of sucks. Like, only in very select circumstances would you want to even take them. Like, if you didn't have any, like, HQs or anything dropping with Marauders out of a Valkyrie, and you just wanted to take up the extra space, you could add 2 of those guys in there to fill the 12 spots. But, I mean, that's really the only thing I can think of. Yeah, but they got some cool stuff going on. So you can take 10 of them. Well, you get a Marauder Chief for free, which is nice. And then you can take... so it's basically you get 5 or 10 Marauders. So they all have frag grenades, crack grenades, and then one of the 3 melee, just normal shooting weapons. So it's whatever you pick. Now here's where the stuff gets cool. So if you wanted to, and I mean, it's iffy, because, I mean, they are straight better than the Disciples if you wanted random melee people. I don't know, it just depends. You could make it be so they have a brutal assault weapon, so they go up to... Oh, I forgot they do have 2 attacks. Yeah, so they'd have 3 attacks. Yeah, that's actually pretty good then. So, I mean, it's whatever you want to do, but yeah. So they could go up to 3 attacks and a pistol. They can get 2 special weapons. These are the only way I'm pretty positive that the Chaos can get sniper rifle guys, because 2 of these guys can get sniper rifles, and they're only 4 points. So you get 2 sniper rifle units for 2 sniper rifles in Chaos for 38 points. But then the other dudes can do things too. They're not just useless guys. But yeah, that's how much it would be if you just want 2 sniper rifles. That's the main things people use them for. But they can take any special weapon and be good. And then the main guy, he can get a special melee weapon. Oh yeah. Yeah, so he gets he can get a bolt gun and a special melee weapon if you want. So that's pretty cool, just to have a guy with a bolt gun, because why not? Okay, so their morale thing I think is pretty good, but it really just depends. Whenever you must take a morale test, you just roll a d6. On a 2+, the test is automatically passed. On a 1, all your dudes die. So, I mean, it's sort of rough if you would roll a 1, but you can spend a command point to re-roll it, and, I mean, it's better than your dudes just getting wiped out from the morale. Now, this is the cool crap right here. This is the good stuff. They got 3 things to pick from, and depending on how you're running them, they're all... One of them is really good in my opinion. The other 2 are actually okay. So the first one is Stalkers. Who doesn't love Stalker, am I right? Basically what it is no matter what, they always subtract, the enemy always subtracts 1 from hitting them. And the crazy thing is if they're in cover, they get +1 to their saving throw. So they basically go up to 3+ -1 to hit when they're in cover. And for how cheap these dudes are, that's pretty insane. They shoot good, and then they're super hard to remove then. So that's definitely the best one if you can get them in the cover. Alright, next one, Murder Cultists. I mean, I don't know if it's even worth it, because I would almost say Heretics would be better than, because you have a 4+ save. Then, I mean, I almost would say that's better than just reroll failed hit rolls, because you can use that 1 psychic power to give them rerolls anyways. So it's very fringe to use this one. And then the last one, Heretics, is their save just goes up to 4+ to 5+ already. I would almost argue that the -1 to hit would be better than the 4-up. I don't know the math. But yeah, so I mean, both of those ones are the better ones, and Murder Cultist is just sort of meh. That's weird. They don't have the Chaos Covenant, and they should. So I don't know what's going on there. That's really stupid. Yeah, okay. So now here's... Oh, these are the couple things right up there that really made me want to play these guys, because they're some of the best looking models. Well, some of the coolest models, I think, in the game. So we got Renegade, Ogryn, Beast Handlers. Now these dudes are kooky. I think the Beast Handler is like 30 points, and then each of the Hounds is 6 points. I will check real quick just so we know what we're talking about. Okay, just go to the end, go up a little bit. Yeah, we got... Yep. Oh, no, they are way more expensive than I thought. 30 for the Master, 10 for the Hounds. But they're 10 for the Dark Elder Chimera, and these guys are very similar to them, so, you know, I can see why. And it really, this is just one of those weird models where it almost doesn't even make sense how it works. Because, like, nowadays you can't have, like, there's not very many units of 2 different types of models. Besides maybe, like, Tau stuff, but I don't know. So basically, 10 points, 30 points. So the Packmaster, 3+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill. He only needs that because he throws grenades. Strength, they're both strength 5, both toughness 5. He has 3 wounds, they have 2 wounds. So, I mean, pretty good, I guess. 3 attacks, 2 attacks, 6, 6, 5, 5. They don't actually have the 5+ invulnerable save, it seems, which is weird. You would think they would have that. But, so, the Ogryn Packmaster, I think both of these cost points. I forget how much. But, I mean, he's equipped with both of them, so you can't, like, so you have to buy both of them, but they're not very much. It's very insignificant. So, Mauler Goad. Attack with this weapon before the Mauler Hounds make their attacks. Okay, already weird timing stuff going on. If you cause 1 or more unsaved wounds on an enemy unit, the Mauler Hounds get a 1+1 to their hit rolls against the same unit this turn. So, I would use this if, like, you're actually hitting something. If you're actually going to be hitting something you can hit. But against random stuff, I almost would say the Ripper Claw is better. Because, you know, -1 AP and D3 damage, that's the only difference. But the +1 to hit is really good, because that's, you know, 3 or 6 more attacks, depending on how many Mauler Hounds you have. But the weird thing is, this model only comes with 3 Mauler Hounds base, so you would have to buy another one just to get the other 3 Mauler Hounds. And at that point, that's like $60 for just that, like, 100 points of models or whatever. No, 90 points. So it's just funny. Then he has a frag grenade. So I mean, it's only range attack. You might as well use it if you can. And then the Mauler Hounds. Oh, this is another one of those things where I forgot they even had this ability. If a unit suffers 1 or more unsaved wounds from this weapon, adds 1 to the dice roll for the subsequent morale test. That's like wording from 7th edition almost. It doesn't say they just get -1 leadership. Yeah, because it says subsequent morale test, not end of the round test. Yeah, that's just broken stuff. But basically, it makes them be -1 -1 leadership. So he's got the base avalanche muscle. He gets an additional attack if he charged. Then he has the combat stems, which is weird because if he rolls a 1, he just dies. I think he has like chains that go to the hound, so it's like how are you going to remove him without removing the hounds? You know, just weird model and rules going on. So yeah, 2 to 5, he gets an extra attack. On a 6, he gets D3. So just funny stuff. So base, no matter what, then he's probably going to have 5 attacks. And the most he can have is 7. So funny stuff. Now these are the coolest guys right here. That guy's cool, but these are the coolest guys. Basically, these are the coolest unit in Warhammer 40k. So basically what it is big buff guys on drugs with like pipes, and they just, and the funny thing is your opponent says, wow, those guys look nice, and you're like, yeah. He's like, oh, what do they have? And you say, oh, you know, they just have an Ogryn weapon. And they say, okay. So then these things, you know, they jump out of the Valkyrie and turn 1 charge the opponent's like, you know, like giant suit thing, and they just beat the crap out of it. They're probably not going to kill it, but they can beat the crap out of it though. And that's what's important. So basically, 3+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill. Again, only because they can. One dude can throw a grenade. Strength 5, toughness 5. The boss has 4 wounds if you choose to have one. And then the boss also gets an extra attack, and he also has an extra leadership for the group, which is nice. Because these guys really, it's iffy. If you run them in small numbers, leadership's not going to be a problem. But in bigger numbers, yeah, they could completely get shreked by the leadership. And you can't really use the one guy on them because, you know, 3 of these guys dying, that's 90, that's like 100 points to leadership right there. So you're going to want to run them in small groups. But yeah, so they base have an Ogryn weapon and frag grenades. Berserker Boss's power drill is a very good weapon. It is awesome. Strength 10, so it's going to hit all vehicles at 3+. Going to hit most marine guys on a 2. -3 AP, so I mean it's gonna gnaw through everything that doesn't have a invulnerable save. You know, anything that's 3 is gonna go up to 5 then. So you're even the tough stuff you're gonna get. D3 wounds, which I mean is better than 2 wounds for sure. I mean 2 damage for sure. Oh no, it's not. It just depends. Because sometimes you're going to need to do 2 wounds than do only 1, but sometimes you get that extra wound and it's nice. But the good thing is against vehicles, reroll failed wound results. So, yeah, so these guys are going to beat stuff up pretty good. Then the normal guys, they just go up to strength 6. So, depending on what the vehicle is, they're probably going to be wounding on 5s. But, you know, it's iffy. Light infantry stuff, they're still going to shred. And it has -1 AP, which is nice, and then 2 damage. And he's more expensive. He's like 10 points more or something for the power drill guy. But yeah, just like the Beastmaster guy, if they charge, they get an extra attack, and then combat stems. So, I mean, you know, there's a chance that one dude just dies. You can re-roll it if you want. You know, it just depends. But more than likely, they're going to go up to 5 attacks for the normal guys and 6 attacks for the boss. So, I mean, 6 of those attacks is nothing to be kidding about for only like 40 points. And oh boy, if you got that D3 attacks and roll a 3, I mean, roll a 6, you know, get 3 more attacks per guy, you're looking at like lots and lots of attacks. Because what? I'm just going to calculate this out real quick. So if you have 9 guys, if you have 8, so you have 8 normal, 1 boss. So that goes to 7 for the normal guys. So 7 times 8, that is 56. And then the boss just has 1 more. So that would be plus 8. So that would go to 64. So 64 attacks for the max. Which actually isn't as many as I thought it was going to be, but it's still a good thing to know. So then you got the Renegade Plague Ogrins. For some reason they're power level 7. They're not as good as these guys. So it's questionable as why they're power level 7 and they're 6. Considering they have no save. It's like, basically, I don't understand. They've just, this unit is unplayable because they were very, very slow when like making its rules. Like, I feel like really they left out rules. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, either these guys should be really cheap compared to these guys, or they should actually have a good save. And these guys can only even have the Nurgle Covenant. And that's the worst one. It's straight garbage, you know. Oh, a 6+ invulnerable save against 4 lower strength weapons. It's like, yeah, that's stupid. That is stupid. Because those things normally don't have any minus AP anyway. So it's just very poor design on their part. Shame on them, I've got to say, for just neglecting these guys. I mean, it's nice they even gave them rules, though. I mean, I'm not going to complain about them actually giving them rules, but still. So 6, 3, 4+. Ain't even got no guns, so that should just be blank. 5, 5, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, 6. Their only weapon, Plague Claws. You get the reroll wounds against non-vehicle models. It's user, only -1 AP and D3 damage. They get the extra attack. They get the possible extra attacks from Plague Stems. That stupid things that makes it only benefit from the Covenant of Nurgle, which is like, it's a rule so bad. Like, they obviously didn't play test it, but they must have just been slow when they were making it. Like, it's so stupid. Like, it's garbage. It's like one of the most garbage rules in the whole game. It's not even useful. Like, you could probably play a whole game and it not even be useful. It's like, wow, your opponent brought Tempestus Scions, or like, I think Necrons and Tau. That might be like the only things that even have a minus on something that low. And then Shower of Bile. If they're slain in the fight phase, okay, my very expensive model just got killed, what do I get? So all units without Nurgle and 3 on a 4+, they suffer 1 mortal wound. So pretty not very good. Yeah. So then that's all their elite units. I'm just going to do a quick run through real quick, you know. These guys aren't really necessary. I mean, if you're going to run like the big squad of guys, yeah, because these guys can take a Voxnet too, so you can have 20 guys. I mean, you might as well, if you're going to run just like the groups of infantry guys, you might as well take these guys to get the command Voxnet. They're not garbage. Like, if you're running the strategy of a bunch of really cheap guys, just having hordes of them in melee, or however the heck you say it, Banner of Hate's not bad, just because it gives you a ton of extra attacks when they die. These guys are not pretty garbage, really, compared to the Marauders. I mean, they let you take a heavy weapon squad, but it costs more than the normal one, but you do get the better ballistic skill, so it's up to you what you think. Normal people would be able to get their heavy weapons just normally anyways, so I mean, I don't know. And they get a special weapon, so I mean, it's up to you. I don't think this is as good as the Marauder squad. I think the Marauders are way better because they're the same points, but you know, whatever you think. And also, yeah. Enforcers are must-have around like big hordes of people, but other than that, you don't really need them. You definitely don't want them around your more expensive infantry models because he'll just make some of them die extra. But yeah, he's really good in those situations. These guys are awesome. They're shining stars, you know, just very versatile, and they're pretty powerful for their points. My thoughts on these guys, they're really iffy. It's a very nice model, but it's also an expensive model. It's normally even pretty expensive from the recasters, too. I mean, I think it's useful, and I mean, it's such a special model, I can see you running it, but it's definitely not a completely necessary one. If you're gonna But these guys are pretty good. I don't think they're super broken or anything, but I think they're very strong, especially if you give them a delivery from like a Valkyrie or something, because you can get 4 of them in it and just drop them. And if you have the Slanesh thing that gives you 3 dice, pick the highest 2 for a charge, they can actually get pretty far pretty fast, and they can do damage. And these guys, well, I think they're basically unusable. Like, there's no reason to have them, because anything just kills them. Because they're only toughness 5, 3 wounds, no save. So, like, hopefully they, like, fix them and, like, actually make them a unit instead of just, like, unfinished rules, but I don't know. But yeah, so that's the video on the elite stuff. If you like these videos, please let me know down in the comments so I can actually have some, motivation to do more of them. I hadn't been on this channel. I hadn't looked at my comments on the account for a while. I saw a couple of dudes saying like, "Oh, you know, thanks for these videos. They're very cool, you know." So that gave me enough motivation to crank another one out for you guys. So yeah, just let me know if you like them, like it or whatever, you know. And thanks for all the watches I've got so far. I really appreciate it. So thank you and have a good time.